everyone. I'm Stephanie Gillison, and welcome to CRE Power Hour. My amazing co-host, Lisa Marie Wan, is actually, let's all wish her the best and Winston the best. Her small little dog is not doing well, got hit by a car, so we're all praying and pulling for Winston's success. So everyone wish her well on social media. Today, I am excited, though, to have Michelle Pauley, a flipping rock star, another female rock star in commercial real estate, coming to us from Arizona, and also a business partner of mine because she's with EXP. So, Michelle, thanks for spending some time with us today and sharing your success. And I love it that your team is called Success CRE. That's pretty awesome.
Well, thanks for having me, Stephanie. It's great to be here, and with an amazing woman in commercial real estate, and we got to stick together because the dudes do. So why not us?
I love it.
It's fun. Yeah, success. I was like, I'm gonna start my company and be successful. So what am I gonna name it? I'm gonna manifest this right now. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. And Michelle, you've been in real estate a long time because you're one of the ones that, you went into real estate, you touched some houses a time or two, right?
A couple times. Yeah, a couple times. The funny thing is that it's actually like I've only been licensed for 3 years. So that's the crazy part. But my husband and I started in real estate investing just as young, investors, and we did a lot of fix and flips ourselves while we lived in houses. And so we would buy the worst house in the best neighborhood, fix it up while we lived there, turn and do that over and over again. And so eventually I decided I should probably get a license to do this for real. And I had like super successful years in residential, but the more I dealt with multifamily and investor clientele, the more I realized that those were my people, and the residential folks were not as much my people. So,
I love that though, that, because you did, you got your feet wet. Obviously you and your husband, I mean, you got so much experience even prior to being licensed, obviously, selling and making a profit, I mean, that was a full-time business. It was a great, successful gig. But, so many people, and I know you get asked this all the time too, Michelle, there's not a day that goes by that somebody doesn't reach out and say, look, I love that I have a real estate license, but I don't even know what to do about transitioning to commercial real estate. So let's talk through that. I mean, people love hearing those stories of how you make up your mind and what did you do about it to get there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I started attending some of the classes that EXP had in the world. So virtually just, going to some of the summits for commercial real estate and realizing that it wasn't so far out of grasp as what I had thought it was going to be. When I first got my license, I joined my sister's team out here in Arizona, and I said to her, hey, like, should I go after commercial real estate? Because, you've already got the residential thing kind of down. I can do transaction work for you and behind the scenes and make this work. And eventually she said, Michelle, you can do that, but like as a woman who's getting to near midlife, you're going to have to spend 2 years working for free, essentially, for someone. She goes, I don't think that's a priority for you. And I said, oh, no, that is not a priority for me. So I kind of thought that was how you had to get into commercial real estate, is doing that, internship kind of thing. And I'm not a big cold caller. I'm not going to lie. Like, that life would not have worked well for me at all. So I like, leveraging my relationships that I have with people, making sure that my network is well connected, and not ever having to make those cold calls. I make warm calls. So warm calls are much better.
I love warm calls.
Warm calls are wonderful. They're awesome. But yeah, so I started attending those symposiums in the world, and I quickly realized, I said, what am I doing? Like, I have, in my sphere of influence, just the people I know, like off the top of my head, I know 45 entrepreneurs. Why am I like going after this residential stuff when it's not fulfilling or, bringing me meaning? Essentially, I wanted to work smarter, not harder in real estate. So I took the plunge and talked to several people at the EXP convention in Vegas that year, and just talked about their experiences and coming over to commercial real estate, because I had no clue what I was going to do other than, like, I'd done multifamily before.
Yeah.
Okay, like I can do multifamily, but I didn't know what the commercial world was like. And so, I mean, I was scared, I was intimidated, but it was one of those things that I knew I had to make that leap of faith to be able to really leverage the time I have in my career, because I want to make a splash. Honestly, like I want to go big or go home. So, and while I love my home, I want to go big. So that's that's where I'm choosing to focus my energies on there. But it was a tremendous kind of jump, leap of faith to be able to go and take that plunge into commercial real estate. Because I mean, honestly, truly, I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm smart, figure stuff out. So
You plugged in though. You plugged in. I mean, that's a thing. I again, talking with agents all over the country, those that are in residential or those that are just getting started, there's so many things that you can plug into. And I always learned by kind of getting involved in the mix of it, right? I mean, even if you're watching, observing, having conversations, I mean, first off, I don't care what you sell. I don't care if you're selling real estate, selling a vitamin, or selling a bowling ball. Nobody knows you're in the business unless you speak the business, unless you're actively telling people that you're in the business, right? You've got to network, you've got to socialize. I have found, and I'm sure you've got the same stories, I have found so many opportunities in commercial real estate because I network with agents in residential real estate,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
as
Yeah.
soon as as soon as you say, look, commercial's what I do, this is what I specialize in, and here's an opportunity for you. There's a way for you to earn money as well, because everybody loves referral fees. Everybody
Oh yeah.
loves to say, okay, well, I don't have time to learn or be an expert in that space. Well, don't worry about it, refer it off to somebody. And that's what I love so much about what we have at EXP, because the referrals have been just tremendous. And I know, before we even got on the show today, I mean, all the different opportunities that are coming up for you in Arizona, because residential agents have a need and they've got the
Yeah.
client already.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty tremendous. During my mentorship in commercial real estate, I mean, I was really focused on learning everything I could about commercial real estate. And then I realized, okay, like more than just my existing network, how do I tap into that resource of our realty partners in EXP? And that was kind of I mean, I worked for a couple of months trying to figure out a way to be strategic with it. And we started doing these live events where we do a commercial real estate kind of focused meetup event. It's an all day kind of in real life get together that Keith Andrews kind of, showed me how to do this model. And because of that, like I'm allowed to, like I can post on Workplace about, hey, this is what we're doing. Come learn about commercial real estate. Just really being open-handed with things and saying, hey, like I'm happy to, share what I know, get you connected with really great resources in commercial real estate. But at the end of the day, like people see me post that stuff on LinkedIn or on Workplace, and they're like, oh, Michelle Pauley does commercial real estate. And I mean, it is like referrals like crazy,
Yeah.
like crazy all day long, every day. I'm like, okay, I've got to hire someone just to do referral paperwork. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
like that's where my life is right now.
It's a good problem
Because
to have.
it's a great problem to have. And honestly, I was like, okay, 3,000 realty agents in Arizona. There's like 17 of us in commercial, right? And I'm like, oh, we wouldn't have to ever make another cold call ever again if we just tapped into the resource of our residential partners. And, like the rising tide raises all ships kind of philosophy in EXP and being really collaborative. Why the heck aren't we tapping into that resource more? So been very strategic in my partnerships with my referral partners on the realty side.
That's great. No, I mean, and then it is good. And 3 years in the business. And really, how long's it been in commercial? Because it's been
So
what, eight,
like 14
18, 19,
months.
14 months.
14?
Okay. I was going to say
Yeah.
18 months, but yeah,
Yeah.
14 months.
Yeah.
14
It's
months
been
and
not
you
long.
have built a business. I mean, an actual
Mhm.
business. And that's what this is why we do this show, everyone. We do this show so that we can unveil, the curtain and say, this really can happen, right?
Yeah.
Because it can if you want it. It can if you want to plug in and network. It can if want to create that strategy. Michelle, you've said this multiple times. I created a you had the strategy. It was your business plan on how you were going to attack this, facilitate it,
Yeah.
and turn it into your career. And that's what you've done in 14 months. And
Yeah.
see, and how many times I've been in this business 24 years. I've been a broker longer than and had more agents on my license than I tend to want to go back and think about. Okay. And in all those times, the agents that would say, it's just real estate. I can't make it in real estate. I can't make it in real estate. I would always say to them, tell me what you've done in the last 30 days to try to build a real estate business. Tell me what you've
Oh
done.
yeah.
And they never had any answers, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Because people don't just sit around and think you're in real estate. When they
Mm-mm.
see you're in real estate, that's when they know you're in real estate.
Yeah.
And when you're speaking and telling them, hey, don't forget I'm in real estate and this is what I do, right? I mean, that's all it takes
Yep.
is to raise those hands. I love that you're doing these networking events. I actually went to Keith Andrews and just 2 weeks ago in Nashville,
Mhm.
Paul Zoritz and
Yep.
Keith put on one, and they asked me to come down and speak. And, it was a great event. There was 60, 70 of us. We spent all day together. We had great content. I learned, I mean, it doesn't matter if you've been in this business 3 years, 24 years, there's still so much to learn all the time
Yep.
because everything's always evolving. But what I loved about that event is that not only did I refer business away, but I also received business. And it was like my husband said to me on the way down, because we're in Louisville and Nashville's, just 2.5 hours south of us. He said, why are we going? I go, to make money. He goes, oh, okay. When we left on the drive back, I said, what did we do today, Sam? He goes, we made money. Pretty
Mhm.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Like, I mean, some of the resources that I've received out of I mean, I had a commercial property inspector come in and speak. I had one of my friends is a commercial appraiser, and I was like, come on over and speak to my event. She goes, Michelle, no one wants to hear me. I said, Ariel,
Yeah, they
you are
do.
a woman appraiser in commercial real estate and you kick ass. Let's
Yeah.
go. And I mean, she got up there and she was like, no one wants to listen to me. But here we go. And I mean, she had the best presentation of the day. People were really engaged with her. She got a ton of business out of it. She's able to have a great, tremendous resource to be able to, hey, any good commercial brokers? I'm going to list this land, or I'm going to list this building that I'm just getting appraised. And guess what happens? It's a two-way street on those referral things. And then, I mean, just being able to add a really great value to your book of business to kind of round out your services as well. I mean, if cost savings analysis or being able to point people in the right direction for some TI work or some furniture for their newly designed office, and you get referral fees off of that stuff. And guess what I'm teaching people about now? Hey, how can you make more money doing things you do all day long, every day, just naturally? Just leverage it now. And
That's
it's
right.
yeah, it's exciting stuff. It really is. It's tremendously fun too.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let's talk about the market. I'm in Kentucky, obviously doing business all over the United States. You're in Arizona. Let's talk about the market. What are you seeing right now?
So I am licensed in both Arizona and Utah. So I got my
Awesome.
turf state license so that I could, represent some folks up in Utah as well. I am seeing, especially in Utah and Phoenix, the Salt Lake area and Phoenix, there are so many people getting into this industrial space for sure. And so this is purchasing, selling, landlord or tenant representation. I'm doing a ton of tenant representation right now for industrial. Just it's ridiculous, honestly. And I can't, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where people are like, oh, the market's slowing down for you, right? And I'm like, no,
No.
no, no, it's not. It just changes, and I'm changing with that. So, being dynamic instead of static in my in my real estate role here is super helpful. I'm a generalist, so I kind of do everything. I'm really trying to get to a good transaction count number so that I can be a mentor, because I've had people coming out of the woodwork asking me to be a mentor. So I'm trying to just like get everything I can do, get all of the experience I can get right now to be a good mentor for folks. But I mean, crazy thing down here in Phoenix is that office is like, we never shut down for COVID. So office is still going pretty strong. Like I mean, yes, there's a larger vacancy. It's nowhere near the national average for vacancies on office. Salt Lake's a different story on that one. Office is a totally different animal up there. But I mean, multifamily is still super strong here. The lending aspect on that's a little bit more challenging to get things through. But I mean, like literally every asset class is still going like gangbusters. Every restaurateur I know is opening up a second or third location here. I mean,
Exactly right.
yeah, anybody who says, oh, the market is, weakening or softening, or we're going to have, it's just not going to be there. I'm like, you need to expand your book of business. Then you need to figure out how else to make yourself relevant in this time. Because if you're only doing office, tenant representation, good luck to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we're busy too. And, the market, I mean, we haven't seen really, anything of a decline. I mean, for what I'm seeing is people are ready to spend more. The inquiries we're getting on all of our listings, we've got one that we're actually taking through the auction. I love doing the national auctions. And we had it was last week, there was over 5,000 inquiries. Yesterday, in our marketing report to see the traffic for 1 week later, over 19,000
Oh my
have
gosh.
signed a confidentiality agreement to see this. I mean,
Wow.
there's money. People are
Yeah.
wanting to spend it, and they are looking for those opportunities. Michelle, what has been your focus? And I know that you're doing, you said generalist, and you're doing so much of just getting transactions through, which is what we are too. I mean, I'm a generalist as well. And what are you doing do you typically right now, are you staying on the buy side, tenant side, or are you on the listing side?
I mean, I have a few listings, for sure, and those are, I've got some land and industrial spaces and office, and I mean, those are definitely fun. But I am doing a ton of tenant representation right now as well. I've got a few buyer representation deals out there as well, just because they're not sure if they want to. I mean, when you break down a triple net lease for someone who's looking to get into a 5-year commitment on a lease, and they're a business owner and could qualify for an SBA loan really easily, and then they look at what they could have for their retirement instead of paying for somebody else's retirement, you can sway them pretty easily to the buy side,
Yeah.
very, very easily. So I've got a few of those as well. I mean, it's across the board. I've got, I think the only thing I don't have right now is a retail tenant that I'm looking to place. I think that's about all I don't have. So that's a very broad, a very broad scope. And I mean, I break it down for people all the time. They're like, oh, you're a generalist. You don't actually have a focus. And I'm sitting here going, dude, this is real estate. It's dirt and boxes. You figure out what goes in the box. You figure out who you're representing in that box, and it's not complicated. Like, you just research and do a little bit of homework, and you can sound like you know what you're talking about, because the fact of the matter is that you do. Like, not complicated.
I love it, Michelle. Last week someone was getting a little bit let's just call it what it is. He was getting a little bit cocky, going, "You can't specialize in everything." I said, "Listen, let me tell you what I specialize in. I
Yep.
specialize in making
Mhm.
money. That's what I
Yep.
specialize in, making money, buddy."
Yep. Yep. Kicking butt and taking names while making money. That's yeah. That is, yeah.
I love it.
It's
I love it.
It cracks me up. Like, people will argue with me about that constantly. They're like, "Oh, no, you can't really be a generalist." And I'm like, "Why not?" Tell me why not. Well, because you're not providing value to your clients. And I was like, my clients who are like, I'm in this 14 months and I have repeat clients, those clients I'm not providing value to, where I've got someone in a, 26 cap industrial property that they now own with a nationally backed tenant. And we're doing a multifamily project together. That type of value. Oh, okay, Michelle. I'm like, yeah, just sit back down.
I love it.
It's
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. That's great. I mean, but it's so true. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be people watching this going, "Oh, look at those two fools. They're just da 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 da." That's okay. Let's show each other's tax returns. Come on. Come on. Stand up. Oh,
Yeah,
we're
that's the truth of it.
there's something not right, but that's okay. We're okay. We're all, I mean, but I love land. Look, I like making money. If the opportunity is there and the client's making money, they're not worried too much about that, right?
No, and that's the thing of it. I'm like, I provide my clients with really great service, and I, make sure to communicate and make sure to follow up. And I think that that's half the time, like what the problem with commercial brokers are. Let's just be honest, like they don't answer their phone and they don't return phone calls or they don't return emails. It's not complicated. Like that's the basic level of service in our industry, and it's completely yeah, unless you're the person calling for tenant, unless you're the tenant calling the person, the landlord rep, you don't get that phone call back, and it's tough being out there, but like basic level of service. And then how do you meet or exceed expectations for your clients every single time? How can I best facilitate this real estate transaction for you? What would success look like in this transaction for you?
That's right.
Ask
That's
the
right.
questions, get the answers. It's not yeah, it's not complicated. It's real estate.
You're a business person, Michelle, and that's what it is. I mean, being a business person,
Yeah,
so very good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
tell us what the rest of this year holds. I mean, you're working, you got a lot of opportunities, you got a lot of
yeah.
deals flowing, you've got all kinds of, avenues to do those. Is there anything specific that you're putting any marketing or social media or anything like that that you're doing to drive new business?
So I am trying to increase my networking as well. So I run a group called Contractors, Closers, and Connections, the Phoenix chapter out here. So CCC, and I am working on expanding the footprint for that. So it's all commercial real estate vertical related. So commercial brokers, lenders, architects, engineers, GCs, investors, developers. And it's just like a fun little happy hour kind of get together and networking event, pretty intensive. You don't show up without business cards because you won't get any value out of it. But, have a few beverages and get to know some additional resources. I mean, I've got GCs that came to one of my last events, and they've got subcontractors. Like they had great connections at this event and have some great subs now because of it, and investors having great resources for, hey, my GC is backed up 2 years on this other project. I need to get somebody else on this other thing right now, or else I'm gonna lose money. So it's a really great networking event that I'm working on, and chapter that I'm working on doing
That's
more
awesome.
events more consistently. So I'm doing that, and then doing my commercial real estate meetup days as well. So I host that with Jonathan Manjapani from Comloan, and we do those commercial real estate meetup days about every 6 weeks or so,
Okay.
and just advertising to inviting new speakers out to those, and advertising those on workplace as well. That's really driving business, but then really trying to leverage those the best investor and developer relationships that I am finding in those networking groups. So really focusing on increasing my value to those folks, and then also just being able to say play matchmaker to things like, hey, like, here's land in Flagstaff, here's this retailer who wants to open up a site. fantastic. Just being able to make those matches is really my focus this year. And then for sure, I also am trying to ramp up social media. I'm pretty present on LinkedIn already, and as a commercial broker, that's super helpful to be present on. But I mean, we could all do a little bit more on the YouTubes and all of that good stuff. But once I can hire some people, I'm going to have the bandwidth to do that. And in the meantime, I've got transaction flow coming at me that I am just, trying to manage and be really excellent at. I think personally, my goal this year is to try and attract more agents to EXP, and becoming a mentor is really being strategic to do that as well, because everybody who approaches me right now about EXP, hey, I want you to be my mentor. Okay, there's other really great mentors out there also already, even before I am. So trying to get the resources for them and just be that great resource. And then my other goal is to invest in at least 2 more commercial properties this year. I own a couple right now, and I want to grow my own portfolio. And that's, kind of the rinse and repeat rule that I've got every single year, is to keep adding a few more to that docket for myself and for my family, to leave a successful legacy for my family behind.
That's awesome, Michelle. You're such an inspiration. I love it. I love it. I love that you're, you just take it like it is what it is, and you've made it that, and you haven't listened to the naysayers, and you haven't let all the you can't do that just ever affect who you are. I mean, I love people like that. I'm one of those myself. I mean, so it's great. It's great that you just continue to rise up regardless. So congratulations on that. I can't wait to watch all that you end up doing. One of the last people we had on CRE Power Hour, I don't know if you know Eddie, but you'll have to go back and watch that show. He's out of Arizona, and he does a really cool thing, and it's called CRE Tub Talks, where he talks about commercial real estate in his tub.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah. So he's been on the show, and we were talking about Arizona, and you should have him come do one of the meetups and talk about social media, because I would love to be a fly on the wall, or just come. I'll just fly out there myself to see him speak, and all those older guys that show up and go, what?
And let's be honest, like, I wish that the older guys would show up and actually show some initiative to, provide, a little bit more depth in their repertoire in commercial real estate, but they're not going to be there. But it is going to be the people who go, oh, I can do that. I can do that. Let's go. Yeah.
We got to get a show like that for you. Not that, but something like it, Michelle. You can pull it off. I know you can.
So my sister is in residential real estate, and she does cold plunging. So she does market updates from the cold plunge every single day. It is she's like, oh, it's so cold. Okay. We've got this many houses on the market here. And I'm like, oh my God, you and the tub guys should get together.
That would make things very interesting and fun. Again, you know what? You have fun in this business. I have fun in this business. Anybody that rolls their eyes, so what? Hashtag us. We don't care.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't do a heck of a lot of posting on Instagram, but when I do, they're like snarky commercial real estate reels that I just make applicable for me. Because, it takes 20 seconds. You throw a filter on, you don't even have to have makeup on, and you can, do something goofy, and just voice over something. And I mean, I've gotten business off of that. It works.
It does.
It's a matter of how much more business do I need right now? Let's see what we can come up with. But there's got to be some sort of shtick to it, right?
Definitely. Yes, for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you had him on. That's so fun.
Yeah, he was a good show. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. So, well, thanks so much for spending your afternoon with us, and just sharing your success, and can't wait to have you on in a year. And we're going to see each other next month in Orlando at Shareholder Summit. And, anybody, if you're watching today and want to reach out to Michelle or myself, you can, message us through LinkedIn, through Facebook, give us a call. We're happy to share, talk, and mentor as many people as we can. So I appreciate you, Michelle.
Right back at you, Stephanie. Thanks for having me and for being such a rock star in commercial real estate yourself.
Thank you. All right.
All right.